back. Did we want to touch on like the AFC North, like how we stack up now?
Yeah, man, go for it.
There's some moves being made. Shit. Because we talked about the Browns already. Ravens made some moves. Calais Campbell for a 5th rounder. And highway robbery there.
And was it Brockers too, right?
Yeah, they got Brockers. I don't
definitely shorts up that deal. Godly.
So those are some names. Campbell made the Pro Bowl. The last 2 or 3 years? I know Brockers named 2. Yeah. He was good. 4 or 5 years ago? Is he still that good? Or?
He's still good, but he got overshadowed a little bit by Donald, obviously.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they look good, too, and the Browns look good. So, I was reading an article. I don't know if you read it. It was by Ron Cook. He said that the Steelers...
Cook!
He said that the Steelers are actually worse than they were at the end of last year. I don't know if you agree with that.
No, go ahead. Tell them why, though.
Tell them why. I mean, it's basically this full podcast, what we talk about, all the losses that we've had. And
you know Ron's a Ben guy.
Is he?
Yeah, he hosted a show with him. Yeah, Ron is like, you think you're a Ben guy. Ron's like a Ben guy.
No, I did read the article. So if you account for all the losses and then look at the moves that we made and players that we kept, I could see why you would say, is our roster necessarily as talented? But then if you take into account the second-year step from Devin Bush, the third-year jump with Minkah Fitzpatrick, Joe Hayden still being in his prime, maybe more on the back end, Steven Nelson in the middle of his prime, hopefully all those receivers that we talked about.
What does a third-year jump for Minkah look like right now? I mean, this dude's been an all-pro.
Yeah,
like, what are we talking about? Like, it's not like he's gonna go from being like
It's
average to like great. Like,
it was only his second year, so you're expecting maybe even better. Okay. I don't know how.
That's what I'm trying to figure out. Like, what would better look like?
I don't know. What's his rating on Madden? I mean, I think they got him at I think they got him at like high 80. So they're saying there's some room for improvement.
I'm just simply asking, like, what would like a drastically better Minkah look like? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
I'm not sure. I just would think you're getting better from year 2 to year 3. No. Could you not?
Go ahead.
Wait, so has Mahomes hit his peak after the second year?
I'm just simply saying, like, when you look at those two dudes, they already are like Mahomes is the best at his position, and Minkah is top 5 at his position league wide. So when I look at those guys, I'm like, do you really feel that big of a difference if they were to improve? Whereas James Washington, for example,
feeling a difference,
right? That's what I'm saying. Like, we're saying, because like you're making this argument of why they should be better, and you're like, well, Minkah's gonna get better. And it's like, are you gonna really feel Minkah improving that much more versus if James Washington, for example, became a 1,000-yard receiver? You would feel that. Whereas if when AB was a 1,000-yard receiver, could you feel the difference if he had 1,200 yards one year versus 1,400 the next year? Even though technically it's better, you don't really feel that big of a difference because it's not that big of a jump. That's what I'm saying.
I will say Devin Bush then, and then we got Stephon Tuitt coming back from injury. He wasn't there last year. So we'll talk about that whole feeling. If these receivers make a jump, you're going to feel that.
Absolutely.
So I get what he's saying just based off the losses, but if you're accounting for, all right, the progression going into next year with these guys and Ben's coming back, then I definitely see the other side where I think we're going to be better.
Shout out to Cook.
What, you like the article?
No, I'm just saying, like, no, because obviously Ron Cook is technically like a coworker of mine.
Wait, okay.
Oh, with the fan.
I know, but have you guys done radio together?
I've been a guest on his, but like we're he's the afternoon
different show.
Spot. Yeah, and I'm in the like the drive time.
Yeah.
Well, he's like mid morning, and I'm drive time. So yeah, so mid morning is like that 10 to 2, and then I'm 2 to 6.
And then he brought up how the Ravens and the Browns have been killing it this offseason and how we're in trouble.
Yeah, I mean we hit on it earlier in terms of why the division is going to be a lot better next year. I mean, this is just on paper because that's the same thing we're doing with the Steelers. We're saying from an on paper standpoint, our projections and stuff like that. It's easy to make those same projections for those teams, and for some of them, they have to be feeling even more excited just because. I mean, for example, we talk about the Bengals. Like, they're potentially going to get Joe Burrow, which would change.
Watch out for the Dolphins, man. I told you.
Well, the thing is this. The Dolphins would have to give up stuff to trade.
Yeah, they'd give up a lot.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So it's like.
And they'll probably draft a QB anyway.
Right. So it's not as if they're sitting here and they're hoping that somebody doesn't take him. It's like, no, they got full first opportunity at him. So even if they were to not take him and they get 2 first-round picks and they draft Tua, for example, or one of these other quarterbacks, it's like that's still going to be a drastic upgrade from when we were watching them play Ryan Finley as their starting quarterback.
Yeah.
We already talked about their running back. I think they, I forgot what they did at offensive line. We know they're getting their first round pick from last year. He should be back healthy this year. AJ Green coming back. I know the same way you feel about Ben and his recovery, you feel the same way about AJ Green and his recovery, because you even wanted to trade for AJ while he was hurt. So I know you feel he's going to be 100% ready to go.
He's another year older. What's so funny?
I just love how you like, if it's a Steeler or it's Ben,
or if we're trading for them.
Or if we're trading for them, your perspective is always a glass half full. If it's anybody that's viewed as the opposition, it's like, nah, he ain't like that. He all right. He average. It's just hilarious, man. That's all. I love it, bro.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who's throwing him the ball, too? I mean.
Well, if it's a Joe Burrow, that might be a little different. If it's a Tua, that might be a little different.
Yeah, I mean, he's a good player, yes.
So it's safe to say that they could potentially be better than last year, correct?
A tad, yes.
Okay.
Right. Actually, yeah, Finley was their QB. Depending on how Burrow or Tua is or whoever they draft, yeah, like I said, house money with our offense, it's basically
definitely house money for their offense. God.
Yeah. Real quick then, how do you feel about us versus the division in terms of offseason or how we stack up right now if you had to rank?
With the healthy Ben, I think it comes down to us in Baltimore like it always does.
Okay.
I do think Baltimore has the better roster on paper right now, offensively and defensively, and they do got the reigning MVP. So I think a lot of that plays into it. But yeah, that's how I look at it. I think right now.
So you're not making too much about Cleveland's moves?
Well, I just feel like in the end, they're going to have a new head coach, but they're going to have to deal with the same thing that we just talked about. The thing that's going to hurt Ben potentially in terms of not having the offseason. They're going to have to do that as well. And it's a lot harder when it's a new head coach because now your whole regime, you can't even implement that until who knows when everything's going to get back to normal because of the coronavirus. So with that being the case, the offense is trying to implement, the defense you're trying to implement, the culture you're trying to implement, like it's going to be hard to do that on the fly. Whereas all the other teams in the division, they got the same coaches, they got the same staff coming back. So I think that part is different. I think Joe Burrow, if he is the guy that goes to Cincinnati, which we're all anticipating, is going to be a little bit of a learning curve for him too, just because he's not going to get those OTA reps, those rookie mini camp reps, those mini camp reps. So that's why I think it hurts both of them a lot more. Whereas with Ben, even if he isn't able to get all of the offseason stuff, he still knows the system. The guys still know him. It's still the same organization, coaches, all that's the same. So if it came down to it, I lean towards Baltimore just because all of their guys are healthy and all of those guys have been playing together under the same coach. Whereas with us, we're going to have obviously Ben, who is going to have to be catching up. And that's the part where I'm like, okay, I would lean towards them in that department.
Okay. So you don't see it as Baltimore's running away with anything?
Nah, but they never do.
Okay.
I mean, last year, like you said, you throw last year out because Ben was hurt, but they never, I mean, even the 4 years I was here, it always came down to 1 or 2 games. Always.
Okay. I'm happy to hear that, man.
What you thought it was going to be?
I didn't know what you were going to say. I thought you were going to throw us in the 3rd spot after the Browns or something.
That's what you're thinking, clearly.
No.
Yeah.
Hell no.
That's what you were thinking over there, man.
I got us at 1, dude. I do. I didn't know if you were thinking because they made those moves and stuff and we're kind of low key that they jumped.
You always have us at 1 though, so that's why I'm just kind of like, I'm not even surprised by that.
No, yeah, there's no reason for that. I thought that was a given.
That's why I always say, like, hey, if we were to do this in a Deke, this isn't on the record. Deke, this isn't against what you're, again, just say, non-biased.
Dude, no, this is true. It's always how I feel. I think we're going to win every game, like going in.
No, I understand
If we
that.
have Ben.
I understand that.
Because obviously I predicted
saying,
against them last year.
I'm just simply saying, you did it earlier in the show. You were like, you know what? I think 12 to 13 wins, right? That was your, like, I'm not going to be Deke. I'm just going to be Eric right here. Can I get Eric? Can I just get Eric for this AFC North conversation?
I think we're going to win. Yeah, okay. I think we're going to win the AFC North.
Okay.
What do you...
No, all right, cool. Why?
What?
And why is that? Everything
I've said. I mean, Ben being back is huge. The defense is going to be as good, if not better. Mm-hmm. And we're house money on offense. And that 14-2 season by Baltimore... Mm-hmm. Are we duplicating it? Is it guaranteed?
So they dropped 2 wins.
We saw it with the Rams. Yeah, that's what I mean.
That still has them at 12.
I think they're going to be good, yeah, but I think we're going to win. That's all. Push comes to shove. We showed whenever we played Lamar the first time, we can contain them. Second time, it was just over. The season was done.
It wasn't done because if we would have won and the Titans would have lost, we would have been in the playoffs. So don't give me that, we were just out there, because they had something to play for.
Morale was down. Morale was definitely down.
Funny, bro.